Good morning, fourth graders. I hope all of you are doing well. We are at home this week, uh, so that's fun. We're going to do our best, though, to get through our schoolwork. That way, when we come back to school next week, we'll be ready just to move on. I miss y'all, and I'm ready to be back in the classroom. Okay, so for grammar, I know not everyone has their book at home, so that's okay. I'm going to just go over our grammar work, and then at the very end of this video, I will hold up a board and it will have some sentences on it for you to correct, and that will be your grammar work for the day. But if you do have your book, then I am on lesson 73. Page 260 is where I'll start, and I'm kind of working my way through there. So if you have your book and you want to kind of follow along, that's where I will be. Okay? All right. So quick review. We have been talking all about pronouns in chapter 6, and this is our last little lesson before we go to our big chapter 6 review. So we first talked about subject pronouns. Remember, subject pronouns can be used as the subject of a sentence, and they can also be used as predicate nominatives. And the subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, we, it, they, right? You remember those? So those are the subject pronouns. Then we have object pronouns, or objective. Our object pronouns are used as direct objects, and they can also be used in prepositional phrases. We didn't talk a whole lot about prepositional phrases because our book hasn't really introduced them yet, but we did figure out that the words to is a preposition and the word for is also a preposition. So when we had one of those pronouns that came after the word to or after the word for, then it was an object pronoun that was used as used in a prepositional phrase. And our object pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, and them. Okay? All right. Let's see. What else have we talked about? We talked about lots of stuff in chapter 6. But this lesson is going to be about kind of the last 4 pronouns that we're going to talk about, and they are this, that, these, and those. Okay? Those 4 words are words that tell us which, like which one, or which about a noun. But sometimes they can tell us which one, but they can also take the place of a noun. And when they do that, then they are used as pronouns. Because remember, what does a pronoun do? Its job is to replace a noun. It takes the place of a noun. Okay, so this, that, these, and those. The word that, they gave us the example of that tree is tall. In that sentence, the word that tells us which tree, right? In the sentence, that is a tall tree, then the word that is used as a pronoun that takes the place of that tree, okay? This and that are singular pronouns. Remember, we know that singular pronouns means we're only talking about one thing. So this and that are singular pronouns, and so we only use them when we're speaking about one thing. This drink, that marker, sorry. So this and that are singular pronouns. Then we have the words these and those. These and those are plural pronouns, meaning they're talking or telling us about more than one thing. We use them when we're talking about more than one. So I have 2 dogs, so I would say these dogs. Over there looking at me like, what? Or those cats. I don't have cats. Those horses. So we use them when we are talking about more than one thing. The words this and these refer to things that are close. This kind of confused me because I don't know that I ever knew this. So they refer to things that are close at hand, meaning they are closer to us. That and those are talking about things that are at a distance. So if my dogs are closer than my horses, so I would say these dogs or this dog. Then if I was talking about my horses who are out there somewhere, oh, they're like, you're talking about me. Then I would say, use the word those horses. They're further away. Or the word that horse. So this and these refer to things that are closer to us. That and those refer to things that are further away. All right. Do not say this here, that here, these here, or those there. Here and there are unnecessary with this, that, these, and those. Okay? So you're never going to say, this here Chick-fil-A drink is really good. We're not going to use those pronouns with the word here. Okay, so on page 261, if you have your book, remember we always look at our little gray box. And our little gray box just tells us, remember, do not use them where they, these, or those should be used. Hush. And do not use here or there with this, that, these, and those. All right, so that's easy enough. But I know a lot of times things make a little more sense when we start to look at our sentences. So I'm going to look at oral drill. And you're going to hold on for just 1 second. Celie, will you let the dogs out? This is the joys of teaching from home. Okay.
I'll jump over that fence.
So oral drill. All they want us to do are correct the sentences. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I should go out there. Oh, we're bringing the dogs back in. Okay. What's wrong? Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Page 261, oral drill. The first sentence says, this here is a cold room. Okay. Now I wrote some of these on a board. I don't know that you can see all of them. I kind of just chose ones that I knew would represent each of the different rules that we looked at. So number 1 says, this here is a cold room. Remember I told you we're not going to use the word here with one of our pronouns. So to correct that sentence, I would take out the word here and say, this is a cold room. The next one was for number 2. It says, them there are rusty. All right. I wouldn't say them are rusty. I wouldn't say there are rusty. So I would have to change that pronoun completely. And I would either say those are rusty or they are rusty. Okay, so you could use either one of those pronouns for number 2. The next one says, it's from number 4 on oral drill. It says, we'll get more chairs if these here aren't enough. All right. Once again, remember we are not going to use the word here with our pronouns. So we would just take that word out and we would say, we'll get more chairs if these aren't enough. And then the last one I gave you, this was one that confused me. It says that is closer than this. And I thought, well, what's wrong with that? That sounds okay to me. But remember I told you that the words this and these are talking about things that are closer, and that and those are talking about things that are further away. So I would need to completely switch that sentence and change it to say this is closer than that. Okay? All right. There are actually 8 different sentences on Oral Drill, and if you have your book, I really encourage you to go through those. Remember, you can do them on your own, you can do them with a parent or a sibling. It'll just give you a little extra practice. It's not something you have to write down. Just some extra practice to make sure you understand how to correctly use those 4 pronouns. Okay? All right. For your classwork for today, I took the first 6 sentences from written practice and I wrote them down. So I'm going to show the board to you in a minute. If you have your book, then you just work through written practice. If you don't, then you can pause the video and then write the sentences correctly. You're going to do exactly what we did on Oral Drill. So you're just reading that sentence and you're figuring out, how do I correct this? You're going to have to write a whole new sentence, okay? So I want you to write the whole sentence. And then the very last thing I want you to do is I want you to take each of those 4 pronouns, so the word this, the word that, the word these, and the word those, and I want you to come up with your own 4 sentences. So use each word in a sentence of your own, okay? All right, so that is grammar for today. Once you are finished, then you can just keep it in a folder, or if your parents want, they can take a picture and send it to me that way, and I can grade it from there. Either way, but that's how we're going to do it for the next 3 class days, and then next week I will see y'all back in the classroom, I hope. Okay, so here is the homework. If you don't have your book, you can just pause the video and work through these sentences. You're correcting the sentence. If you do have your book, then it's on page 261, written practice. If you have your book, that'll be a lot easier. But if not, just pause the video here and work through those sentences. Okay, we will see you tomorrow.